Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 15 of Direwolf20's Space Engineers Let's Play series. I'm having a little bit of fun expanding my walkways here. So let's see, room builder, remote control, go. Nice. I'd like to have my base be fully pressurized if possible. And that means a few things for us to work on today. I would like to have oxygen available in the base. It's a cool and fun time to be had for sure. Let's just finalize a couple room setups here. Before I do that though, I might want to build an oxygen generation room, and I'm debating exactly where I want that to be. See, I kind of like this look more so than this look. While this looks cool, having no borders and whatnot, I think it doesn't look super sharp. It would probably be better if I had this one be the borderless window. That would be actually a really cool idea. I want to try that and just see how it looks. So that depressurized. Window. I think that was a 2x3, right? So let's see. 2x3 flat inverted, I believe, is what goes there now. There we go, and you're gonna go right about, that is 2x3, right? Oh, it's 1x3, hold on. Dyer derping it up. 1x3, right? Yes, so that would be a 1x, or is that a 1x2? That might even be a 1x2. I've already lost track of what I'm doing, which is never a good sign. Let's try 1x2. I think it should be inverted. Is there a 1x3? Oh, that's so close. This is the tricky thing with these inverted windows, is it's really hard to figure out when you're placing them how they're supposed to go. So it's a little bit of trial and error, which is why I don't typically use them. Ah, I keep doing the wrong one. There we go. Just want to see if this looks better. See, that looks pretty cool. If these guys were borderless, that would be even perfect. But I'm not going to mess with that right now. Oxygen room. Where should I put the oxygen room? I'm thinking the oxygen room is a place I should almost never really need to go to. It should be 100% like just boring and sit there and do its job like it's supposed to, which would be great. So my plan then will be as follows. I would like to have my oxygen room be on the other side of this area over here. So I want to extend out from here. Bulletproof glass. See you later. Goodness, I barely have the inventory for it. So let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to build the room off camera real quick, just because building out a room can sometimes be a little dull. And then we'll come back to take a look at what we're going to do with oxygen today. Alright guys, assuming that I did a half decent job of this, I should have a nice looking room ready here in just a moment. So I'm going to weld all this stuff together, and we should see this thing come up pretty nicely. So I added a door here, obviously, to the cargo bay. You can see it all getting welded up right now. And then I've got a walkway, I've got a door in the oxygen room, and then the oxygen room is as shown. Nice. So let's get this welded up, and we'll be right back. And there we go. Last of the welding is complete. Let's just leave this ship here for the time being, because there may be some stuff I need for him to do a little bit later. Make sure the welders are off, and let's go inside and check it out. Nice. Love my auto-opening doors. I'm going to have to set up sensors for these doors as well. May or may not leave them open at all times. Not entirely sure what I want to do with them yet. And then this setup, obviously, I haven't finished the doors on because I was just doing stuff. So that's not a terrible looking room. Alright, so no gravity out here this far, but that's okay. I can add gravity gen. You'll notice that this back wall here doesn't have glass windows. There's a reason. Don't worry. I'll get to it. It'll be cool. I should also put lights in these rooms at some point, but another thing that we'll get to eventually-ish. You'll also notice that it's not the same size, really. Alright, so one of the first things we're going to need is an oxygen generator. So there's a couple components to an oxygen system. It's actually really not hard. Oxygen generators, oxygen tanks. There's also oxygen farms, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but for now, oxygen generators and tanks will be the way to go. Now, can I sneak this right onto here? Probably not. It doesn't seem to want to let me attach it to the glass back there, which is fine. I'm going to instead... So one of the things you're going to need to go along with this is your conveyor system. So the same system that you would have otherwise gone with... Come on, conveyor tube, rotate around, would you? Will be responsible for this whole setup. So let's see, can I get you to behave a little bit? Probably not. Should probably run these across to here. Might not be a terrible idea to do it now, just so I don't do it wrong. Okay, let's get these placed over here. So that's coming across to this room. I guess here I should have some kind of conveyor, which I need interior plates for, of course. I need to access my inventory from multiple points. I'm going to set that up in a little bit. But for now, we'll get a few more of you and some interior plates, and that should be plenty. Lights on. Okay, conveyor in place, then we'll do this, this. And you here. Finally, we'll get back inside there. Sometimes the easiest way, just drill a hole. Obviously, we're gonna want this place to be airtight, so my inventory was full. Alright, so back here we'll put the tube connector there, and then we'll put the oxygen generator right on top of it. So there's a couple approaches we could take to this. I think I'm only going to want one oxygen generator for now, so I'll go ahead and put that there. And then we're going to want oxygen tanks. I'm thinking I might want them running right across this wall. So generators on one side, tanks on the other, right? That should work out pretty well. There we go. And we'll do the same kind of setup here. There we go. And then the tanks can go here. I'm gonna have one for now, but we'll probably want more later. Does that sound cool? And then what I'll do is put this back. I have too much junk in my inventory. Don't worry, shortly that won't be too much of a problem. Alright, everybody looks good and happy. So let's get out of the way a little bit, and then I'm gonna remote into my blocks builder, remote control. Let's go build some stuff, shall we? Lights on, please. So I should be able to hit this through the roof, hopefully. That looks good. And storage guy as well. Nice. Turn this off. I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to hit all these guys. This is my favorite part, is when I actually have a proper welding ship that has all the components that I will typically need in it. Because usually it means I get to just zip along and weld stuff without having to run back and forth. Once you get to this stage of the game, building things gets super cool. Sometimes I'll just turn off inertial dampeners and let it fly. Awesome. Up and running, green across the board. That's what I like to see. And to test that, I should be able to come over here and access my cargo and place things in there. Nice. See that? Very cool. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna need is probably some ice. That's what's going to get us going. Now, this oxygen generator is not showing any lights. I think that's a bug, but we're going to check it out in a moment here. So let's go to our control panel and check out oxygen. So there's two things. Oxygen generator 3, which I'll rename probably to 2. This is the one that we have back there that has stuff in it. And if we brought this up here, we'll see that there's a little bit of ice over there. We're going to want to put him in oxygen generator 2 at some point. We might actually just wind up leaving him there, and you'll see why. Toggle block on and off, show in terminal, show in toolbar, show in HUD, use conveyor system on off, refill bottles, auto refill. Nothing too fancy in this control panel screen. You can set it up so that it automatically refills bottles, but not a big deal. And then oxygen tank, there's a couple things we can do here. So stockpile on and off tells it whether or not it allows this to drain from vents. So we'll see how some of this works in a little bit, but for now, let's go get some ice, shall we? Oh, you know what I want to do? I want to weld those doors. Let me get those put together. Blocks, remote control. Let's get the doors built. They should be right up here. Oops, I'm welding a cargo bay. My bad. That's okay. Nice. So where exactly is my gravity generator not going to work from? Oh, this might be a problem for me. There we go. Alright, now we're cool. This guy accidentally got a few things that he didn't need. I'll come back in a minute. Once you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go mine for ice, and then I'll come back and we will set up our first system of oxygen. So we've already kind of seen what ice looks like. Luckily, there's a big chunk of it right underneath my base, so I'm like not even anywhere far away. I'm going to mine this up a little bit and be right back. All right, I didn't mine a whole ton of ice, but I should have gotten enough to at least get us up and running. As you can see, by the way, I've been playing with auto docking, and I am still just having no luck getting auto docking to work. It's just a little bit bugging me, but I will figure something out, I am sure. But for now, let's get docked up. And go. And our large cargo bay should have been empty by now. We will then put our ship away. Remember, double tap that third person view and it'll kind of reset it to just perfectly in the back of your ship, which is cool. All right. Ooh, it bumped into the wall a little bit there. So if we come down here to this new cargo bay I just made. Oh, inertial dampeners were off. That's weird. I should have gotten ice. Where's all my ice? Oh, it went directly into ore backlog. Okay. I have to exclude ice on that, don't I? Yeah. You know what I'll do? I'll make this ice P9 so that ice has a higher priority. I want this small inventory cargo container to be where ice lands. Cool. That's what I want. Nice. So if we fly over to our oxygen generator now that we have ice, and I'm actually not going to fly over there. I'll run. I'm getting excited because we're going to have oxygen soon. You can see that currently my oxygen generator is turned off. Red light. That's because I turned it off on purpose. I wanted to be here when I turned it on. So if I toggle block on, he might pull ice in automatically. There you go. He filled himself up with ice. We'll see that we still have some in our backlog. Nice. And he's not really going to do much with it because he doesn't have anywhere to put it. So this thing turns ice into oxygen, right? What we need to do in order for this thing to have somewhere to put things is get the oxygen container up and running. You can see it's all red right now because I have him disabled as well. So if we go to our oxygen tank, toggle block on, he should not have any lights on him, but this guy should be running. Wow, you are doing what? You know what I should do is probably use conveyor system off, ice P5. I think my little smart thing is battling itself. There we go. So ice is going to sit in there now. He has a higher priority than the cargo hold back there. And ice is being consumed. And it should be getting placed into the oxygen tank. And if we look at our control panel here and check out oxygen tank, we'll see that it's about 1% filled. Nice. And it might continue to get 1% filled, more-ish. Come on, buddy. Let's go. So while that thing's up and running, I want to add some LCD panels to this room so that we can easily see. I really gotta get some gravity in here, but let's get LCD panels in. And we'll get a good representation of how much we've got going on here. That's upside down. That should be correct. Nice. Bulletproof glass. That's the other thing I need for LCD panels. Should have known. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll copy the LCD tag here. Doesn't really matter what it's called as long as that LCD tag is there. And then this guy will copy the use text commands. I think if I put oxygen here, it should give me some information on oxygen. Hey, look at that. Oxygen tanks, 0.83%. Nice. I'll come back in a minute once we've started getting some more oxygen storage going on. All right, while we're taking a look at our oxygen tanks, and I think they're actually a little bit buggy right now, and I'll explain it in a minute, I want to show you air vents. So air vents are what allow you to pressurize a room with air, and the oxygen will travel through your conveyor system. So we're already pretty familiar with conveyor systems. We've been playing with that a bunch. All we got to do now is get an air vent placed in. Now the vanilla air vent looks like that. Now if we get this guy drilled out here, and yeah, I have too much junk in my inventory. There we go. Hopefully I can catch that stuff. If I lose it, no biggie. Let's get our... See, the problem is you kind of want this guy actually connected. So if you do use the vanilla ones, you're going to want them kind of recessed so that the connector block for the conveyor can actually tap right into it. There we go. And then we should be cool. And then we'll show some other options here in a moment. So let's get this guy set up, and then there we are. Nice. Let's get this welded. Blocks, remote control, go. All set. So you'll remember from last episode, as we go in here, that yellow means the room isn't pressurized. Pressurized now, maybe? Should potentially be what's open to the air. It might be this tube under this oxygen farm, and if it is, it's going to be a hassle for me. I think these guys aren't pressurized. Let me grind this down. Oxygen tanks aren't 100% working anyway. There's a bug with the tanks where they're not actually storing what they should be storing. So I think I might just do away with the oxygen tank. But the way to fix this if it was working is to have a conveyor underneath it instead of having a tube. So the proper way to fix this would be to have a conveyor here instead of a tube. But for now, we're just going to do that, and we should be sufficient. Pressurized yet? Maybe not. Alright. The vents themselves are pressurized, I'm pretty sure. Let me troubleshoot. It might also be this one, the oxygen generator, and if that's the case, that's going to be a huge pain, but I'll come back in a minute. Alright, one test here that we can do. If I put a block here and weld it up, then we'll know where the pressurization issue is becoming a problem at. So yeah, still not a pressurized room, so it must be this guy isn't pressurized, the tank, or the oxygen generator. So let me get that guy filled in. So to demonstrate, if we put a conveyor here, which I need interior plates for, which is cool. Go get some of them. I should have pretty much everything else I need, hopefully, to do this by hand. If not, I'll have to get my welding ship. Interior plates. There we go. Conveyors are pressurized for rooms, tubes are not. And obviously it makes sense if you look at it, because the conveyors are forming an airtight seal there and the tubes definitely didn't. So if I'm right that this was my issue all along, you should be kind of ready to go. And you're still yellow? Room pressure not pressurized. Is it because something's open? This door was closed a minute ago. So there we go. Now it's pressurized and ready to go. So it definitely was this, because the door was closed a minute ago. I just opened it to go outside, so that's fine. All right. So let's take a look at getting this room up and running. I have to get another oxygen generator back in here. Nice, I have all the stuff on me still. And now to test if the air vents are pressurized as well. So before I have you start producing oxygen, which you might start trying to do. So I want to use conveyor system off. You know what? I'll just do it now. Ice P5. Nice. Not pressurized. Let's see. So there we go. The vent here is pressurized, which is good, which means we can start pressurizing this room. Cool. So I'll get rid of all this. One thing I might want to do real quick. Small medical station. What else do I need here? Small steel tube, display, computer, and 4 medical components.
Energy low.
Small steel tube, display, computer, production, 4 medical components, please. So this nifty little device, the small medical station, is a modded item. Unlike the main medical station, it cannot refill your oxygen for you, but it can refill your energy for you. Oh, it can do oxygen. It's not supposed to be able to do oxygen, but like I said a couple episodes ago, I think oxygen's a little bit funky with first aid stations, because they're supposed to require an oxygen connection, and this guy definitely doesn't have one, but that's okay. We can see here that it's doing its thing. So this is, I like this little small medical station better than the main room, because obviously it's not smaller and it fits well. Okay, so let's try pressurizing this room. So right now, and if air vent 4, nice. So we can see, and I'm going to rename this guy. We're going to call him air vent oxygen room. Cool. Nice. Very cool. Let's pressurize it. So all I have to do is go in here, and the only option, pressurize. We can also do some things down here, but for now we're going to say depressurize is off. So you should be ready to go. All I need to do then is come over here and see why you might not be working. Alright guys, so a good little trick that I tried was closing out the game and going back in, and now everything's working. So if we take a look, we'll see that the oxygen in this room is starting to fill up. Hooray! Which means I can take off my helmet. Cool. Let's see. There we go. Nice. Helmet on, helmet off. And no issues. So now I can kind of just walk around with my helmet off. So what we've got here is this guy is on. And if we go to our inventory, we'll see he's been using up a little bit of ice. And it basically pumps air into the room, and we might have noticed that it took a moment for the room to fill up. So I put my helmet back on, and if we want to depressurize the room, we can do that. There's only one problem, is that's a little bit tricky to do when you don't have oxygen storage. So let me consider, and this is going to cause a big whoosh of air once the room depressurizes. Yep, there we go, oxygen gone. Oh well. Depressurize is another way to basically like disable the vent, or you can just turn it off. The nice thing about the LCD program is you can see that it indicates when the room is leaking and what percentage it's at. So let me get another... I'm going to try the tank again. The tank was definitely acting funny, but maybe that's just a direct result of something. So interior plate, small tube, interior plate. Cargo. There we go. So let's get the tank back into place. So having the conveyor here will make sure the room's pressurized for the tank to sit on. The other downside to tanks is that they really only have access ports on the top and bottom. So we're going to need a line of conveyors anyway if we want to have more than one tank in this room, which we may. But let's get it. Oxygen tank. Looking good. I want to rotate it so the word oxygen's front. Just looks a little bit nicer. Small and large steel tubes, a lot of them. Construction components and steel plates. That should be all the large tubes. Small construction steel. And I'm going to try the log off, log back on trick and see if that helps things a little bit. So this room should be okay right now. So you can see it doesn't say that it's leaking air anymore. You can see it kind of in the distance there. It says 0%. So that means that we're definitely, and the blue light there indicates that we're in depressurized mode. And then the oxygen tank, let me check this guy out. So oxygen tank. I noticed when I turned you off and on, the tank got a little bit of oxygen. I want to try logging out and log back in and see if that helps things. Alright, so tanks are definitely misbehaving a little bit. They should be getting filled up from the oxygen generator, but I'm curious if the vent will work for them. So let's try this. I'm going to set this guy to depressurize off. So he should drain oxygen. You can see he's doing so both from the tank, maybe... There we go. Nice. So the room is pressurized now, 100%. Very cool. Obviously, by the way, more space takes longer to pressurize. Let's now depressurize the room and see if you're successfully able to empty the room. So a little bit went into tanks, but definitely not able to store it. So that's tricky. Okay. Not the end of the world, for sure. But I would have liked it if it was behaving a little bit better. But that's okay. We can at least pressurize rooms. It'll use up ice. So the way this would normally work, if oxygen tanks are a little bit busted right now, but normally they'd have a large internal capacity of oxygen itself, and we'd be able to store a bunch of it. And we'd be able to pressurize a room, which obviously means that the room can hold oxygen. So we'll turn depressurize off, which makes it all green. So now I can, again, take my helmet off and breathe in this oxygenated environment, which is cool. That's interesting with my helmet off. See, my oxygen is no longer refilling from this medical bay now. That's pretty interesting. There we go. When you'd want to leave a room, or if you wanted to open doors or something that would depressurize a room, you could configure it to depressurize, and it would suck the oxygen out and store it back in the tanks. This is a nice thing to do if you're concerned about, you know, the usage of ice or something like that. But we're not too worried about that. There's a ton of ice nearby. So for now, I'm not going to worry about it. And later on, once the oxygen tanks are fixed, we can set up an automated program on the programmable blocks to deal with that for us. There's a couple cool options. So let's get our helmet back on. Open this door and find out where our leak is. So obviously we have a leaky room. So it's not in this hallway, right? If I close this door, is this room okay? This room is okay. So let's go over here. Now obviously right now we've only got one vent. So this room is okay. Oh wow, oxygen filled up real quick. How did you fill up so fast? Across all these rooms. Beats me. And be careful when you open these doors sometimes. Pressurization might kick you out. So this thing is okay, right? Yes, oxygen low. See how we're getting a little bit of oxygen? It's taking a while, obviously, to fill up all these rooms, but that's okay. Oxygen none. You know what it might be? Ah, this is why. This door is open. That's what's causing our oxygen issues. So if we close this door, I'm gonna have to get just the windows around there, but we should have some oxygen going on now. That is cool. So our whole base is pressurized at this point. Eventually, I'll probably want some vents in multiple rooms, so that they can all kind of have their own type of air pressure going on. But for now, it's not a big deal. I can just have the vent here filling up the whole base. But obviously, as the base expands, we're going to want more and more vents around the place. That is cool. So what I can do then is go out here. Now, the reason I have this set up is that I can close that door and then go out this door. And we should still have pressure inside the base, which is ideal, right? So that's like a little bit of an airlock there. And what I might want to do is maybe add another LCD screen. I'm getting a little bit full of those though. That's the wrong LCD screen. I want this one. There we go. Oh, come on. Cool. A few computers, display, and glass, and I should be good. A few computers, displays, and bulletproof glass. Didn't I get computers? No, I probably got interior plates by mistake. Once again, dire derping it up. So we'll add the LCD tag here. We'll add the use text commands here. And then we will show public on screen. Private text will be oxygen. There we go. Nice. So we can see the oxygen room fully pressurized, which means the base is pressurized. One other thing I might hear is the following. Edit, public text. I'm thinking I might want to add... Pretty sure I can do something like this. I might have to check to see if that's valid. Oh no, that is valid. Perfect. Or a summary. So now we can see both how much oxygen we have in the room and how much ice we have. So that command there is show me the inventory. Star means everything, so show me all inventories everywhere, and just show me how much ice there is. We only have 15.1k ice, which makes me think... Oh yeah, look at that. Oxygen generator 2. We've used a lot of ice for all the pressurizing of the rooms that we've done. So keeping the rooms pressurized does burn through ice a little bit. Not the end of the world. Obviously, there's tons of ice everywhere, so we can manage that. So by the way, I think my oxygen or my ice was depleting so quickly because of the tanks. So for now, I've gone ahead and turned off the oxygen tank. Oops, I think we just wasted a bunch of ice. But like I said, it's not that hard to come across. So now we've got a pressurized base, which is pretty darn cool. I might want to tweak some of the way this stuff works. One of the things I'll probably want to do is ensure that whenever we open any of these doors and such, we make sure that this door is closed before allowing that to happen. So that might be a good idea. There's a couple things we'll probably want to do with relation to oxygen and such. But for now, I do think we need to wrap up the episode. So one thing I'd like to look at, so let's see, if we pop into here, we'll see that there's no oxygen in this room because that door was opened. But when we go over here, whoosh, see? I wasn't lying about that big burst of air. Nice. High oxygen. And I can take off my helmet. Beautiful. We've got an air pressurized base, which is really cool. I'm going to come back next episode. Something I'd like to consider working on is maybe next episode we'll work on, yeah, see, 99.6. We're going to slowly use up a little bit of oxygen just from having your helmet off and walking around in here. And obviously filling up that little air corridor that we walked through, but otherwise pretty good. I'd like to work on a new ship. I'd like to work on a combat ship. We keep seeing all these haulers and other things flying by. I wouldn't mind working on a ship whose sole purpose would be to go attack some of those, and maybe even that drone base. They attacked me recently, even though they did a terrible job of it, and I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of revenge. All right, better put my helmet back on if I'm going to go outside. For now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed learning about oxygen. Like I said, once tanks are working, it'll be a little bit smoother, but aside from them not working, we're pretty good. If you're building the panels in your base and you have a problem getting oxygen to fill, just try closing the game and going back in. That seemed to fix it for me. And we didn't talk about it, but there's a couple other vents that we might look at. One of them that's really useful is a conveyor air vent. It's a combination conveyor and air vent, and that's a modded item. And then there's a sloped one as well. And then there's some flush mounts. These are all modded related as well. So some pretty cool stuff. We didn't talk about oxygen farms, but maybe we'll look at those at a future episode. See, there's a mining hauler. I wouldn't mind capturing that and flying it home. I might look into doing something like that. Anyway, guys, take it easy.